The Broncos have a big divisional game this Sunday. The Buffs are looking good, and one of the Buffs players is now the heavy favorite for the Heisman. This is your Denver Sports Daily for November 21st.
The biggest stories, the latest news. It's Denver Sports Daily.
The Denver Broncos are traveling to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders this Sunday. The Broncos, now 6-5, look to take on the Raiders and grow to 7-5. Now, they obviously want to win this game. It's going to be a big game. It shouldn't be too much of a contest. The Raiders aren't looking great. But last time these teams played, it wasn't any different than how I'm projecting it to be right now. They dominated the Raiders last time they played, beating them 34-18. They came to play. Bo Nix looked great in that game. Now, the Broncos are currently third in the AFC West behind the Chiefs and the Chargers. And the good news is the Chargers play the Ravens this week. So with that, there could be a lot of movement coming in. If the Broncos can beat the Raiders and the Chargers lose to the Ravens, the Broncos will be the only one game behind for second in the AFC West. Now, the Chargers do have the tiebreaker against the Broncos since they bested them in week 6, but the next 3 weeks could have a lot of movement. The Chargers play the Ravens, Falcons, and the Chiefs in the next 3 weeks, and the Broncos play the Raiders, Browns, and Colts. Those are very different schedules in terms of toughness. The Falcons, Ravens, and Chiefs are all good teams, and although the Broncos dominated the Falcons, it's going to be a different game for the Chargers. The Chargers aren't going to be able to play that same way they played against the Falcons. Their defense is nowhere near as good as the Broncos. The Chargers defense. They can't stop the Falcons as well as the Broncos did. Those 3 games could very easily be losses for the Chargers. And on the other side, the Raiders, Browns, and Colts could be easy wins for the Broncos. There's not a chance that I don't think that those 3 games, the next 3 weeks, can have a lot of movement for both these teams. There's going to be movement no matter what, but there's no way that we can't win all those 3. And there's no way that the Chargers win all 3 of theirs. There's going to be movement there. The Broncos could easily take second in the AFC West. And as much as I'd like that to be first, the Chiefs are dominant right now. They're looking good. And although their wins haven't been great, they're 9-1. There's not much more you can do. They're a great team right now in terms of their stats, and everything like that is stopping the Broncos from getting that first seed in the AFC West. But that being said, the Broncos are going to be a playoff team. I'm going to put my life on that right now. The Broncos should make the playoffs, and not only should, they will. I will go as far to say the Broncos will make the playoffs this year, which is crazy. Looking back last year, you told me that we're going to draft Bo Nix as the 6th quarterback taken off the board, and we're going to go to the playoffs. I would have called you crazy. But now here we are. This is incredible. The Broncos are doing so much better than anybody expected. And with this matchup against the Raiders, they're probably going to win again. Those 2 teams play in Vegas this Sunday at 2:05. Now, moving on, the CU Buffs also play the Kansas Jayhawks this Saturday in another must-win game to keep their playoff hopes alive. CU travels to Kansas this Saturday to play the Jayhawks at 1:30 p.m. Now, the Buffs are coming into this game as favorites, but the odds are tighter than you would think. CU sits at -145 to win, and the KU is currently at +125. Those are much tighter than I would like them to be. The CU Buffs have dominated everybody they played against, and KU isn't that great. Their record is 4-6, while the Buffs are 8-2. The thing that I think might be changing it up for KU is that they did upset BYU last week to hand them their first loss. So, with that being said, if CU can win, they have a great case for first in the Big 12. That would be huge. Now, either way, the Buffs are most likely going to make that Big 12 championship. But movement's going to be had. If they can't win against KU, that's a big issue. They need to win games like this to prove that they can win at a higher level, like they can if they play BYU. That's going to be a great game too. But if they can beat KU and then beat BYU in the Big 12 championship, I don't see any team that's really going to beat them. There are those SEC teams that people are like, oh, they're going to dominate the Buffs. I don't think so. I think that the Buffs are looking so good right now. They are a team that is at the highest level in college football. They're ranked for a reason. They can play and compete against any team in FBS right now. Now, with that, they have great players like Travis Hunter. And Travis Hunter has taken a huge lead in the Heisman race after another all-around week. For the two-way star, Travis Hunter has gripped the first spot in the Heisman odds for now the 2nd week in a row. Last week, Hunter had 55 receiving yards, a rushing touchdown, and an interception. If you talk about that stat to anybody else, that's incredible. 55 receiving yards, a rushing touchdown, and an interception. You tell that to me, I'm like, what position does this guy play? Is he like a Taysom Hill of college football, except he plays defense too? He's like that, but better. This guy's insane. He's gonna win this Heisman this year. His odds are at minus 350 to win. That's a huge gap between him and second. Second is Ashton Genty with plus 380, and he was looking like the runaway favorite for a long time. But now, after these past few games, he hasn't performed as well. And in his terms, performing as well is still getting like 180 yards on the ground a game. So it is nuts to see that a player performing that high is second to somebody like Travis Hunter, who is performing at the highest level, and not only on one side of the field, but both. Shadur Sanders is also in the top 10, sitting at 8th with plus 7,500 odds. He's most likely not going to win, but Travis Hunter is going to win. He is so likely to win this award. It's nuts. If he doesn't win the Heisman this year, I would be incredibly upset. He has everything you need on a football field. On a football field, period. He is what you look at when you say, can this guy play football? Yeah, he can on both sides of the field. He's playing high school ball at the college level. This guy's insane. He's going to win the Heisman this year. I have no doubt in my mind. Now, it is an Avalanche game day. The Avs are traveling to Washington to take on the Capitals for the second time in 6 days. Now, last week, Colorado was bested by Washington in Val Nichushkin's much anticipated return. Now, the Avs are coming into this game as favorites, though, with minus 140 odds to win. The Capitals' leading scorer, Alex Ovechkin, is probably the reason why we are coming in as favorites, while he is out for the game, which will be a huge boost to the Avs as he leads in goals and second overall in points. Now, they play tonight at 5 p.m. These are games that the Avs have to win. With their team right now, they've obviously been clicking. They look like they are a playoff team right now who's looking to make a run. Those players that came back last week, the Jonathan Drew and Miles Wood and Val Nichushkin, have come back, and they lost that first game against the Capitals last week, but they won that second, they won the next, and now they're playing again against the Capitals in Washington. And these are games where they're going to be like, okay, we got it together. We know what we're doing now. We're going to win this game. I have no doubt in my mind that the Avs can go out there and win tonight. I was very low on them at the beginning of the season, but they're clicking now. They're getting in their groove. They're looking for wins. They're looking for what they need to be fixing, and they've done it. They fixed what they needed to fix, and they've gone out and they've won games. But that's going to do it for your Denver Sports Daily today, guys. There's going to be no Denver Sports Daily for the next week and a half until after Thanksgiving. Monday after next is when we're going to be back, and we're going to be recapping all the big wins, hopefully wins that are going to happen. The Broncos are taking on the Raiders this week. And then, there's going to be movement. I really do believe that. And then after I come back the next Monday after next, we're going to be done with the college football regular season. The Buffs will have played KU and then Oklahoma State. Those two games are going to be the last two for the regular season for college football. And there's going to be a few Avs games, Nuggets games. I'm going to be recapping all of that. It's going to be a great time, but I will see you guys the Monday after next. And if I don't, have a great Thanksgiving. Bye, y'all.